You remember, you don't make music, you can always do comedy. But then again, don't quit your day job. I'm gonna be in here breaking down the WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gangsters of all ages, welcome to Bob's to Five. Coming to you directly from the struggle of black resistance still exists. Can you dig it? Serial killer still killing. Dope dealer still dealing. Where are the children? 11 o'clock curfew. Do you know where your babies are? I know the YNs out there making a way out. And why not? And they did that. See that? Ain't nothing changed except the eviction notice on the door. While those other people get rich, our people stay poor. Seeing the Afro puffs rolling across the barbershop floor. Can you dig it? I'm still a clown for hustle man to get on the ground and try to make style. Y'all got y'all, I'm just trying to get mine. Can you dig it? Crack has been replaced by something 10 times stronger and more deadly. The graveyard is filling up deadly. Can you dig it? I'm on some gangster shit. To make you remember and never forget where you came from. Can you dig it? Dig it! Tell the love about me for my homies who held the line on the street. In the streets is where you find me. In the trenches doing real fine. It ain't hard to find. Just ask one of my homies where the real OG. Back in the back, wearing black, surrounded by black panthers, keeping stack. On the street. Who's land? Out the street. Out the back. I went through hard times trying to get a time on my hustle, on my grind. Ain't got no time to commit no crime. I'm taking identity from somebody who give up. See, ain't never been me. Growing up, trenches detached. Concrete jungle never flashed. Give big black respect. Those who give big black baskets back to the poor and more. At the project doorstairs, before them was DoorDash. Before there was doorbusters, we had side door hustlers. With no school bus for us, just some food stamps, getting the toys for us. No Santa Claus roaming the halls, smell like piss boots and dirty drawers. JJ in the stairway, in the midnight shadow of the pale moonlight, hit that glass pipe. So when you see him right, high as a kite. Then he get locked up last night. Yeah, that's him alright. Bookie JJ out of pocket. Snitching, selling out the cell in. Yeah, you don't spill your guts, they ain't your friend. Drug gonna keep that bulldog's habit paper right. Wearing a fire ratting out the block tonight. Open up the new dope and doing money after all the fire smell of jealous. What the hell, Sally is? Concrete, trouble, nothing flinching. Mama's baby, Project Rape. Yeah, takers later. You gon' pop the collard greens, red Kool-Aid, pass bustin' at the seat. Remind that even in poverty, but poor, don't let them feed you that lie. It's always give us less. There's a whole lot more. Can you take? Black over the line. That tells them rehearsals only get better from this. And make sure you follow my channel so you can pop up when I pop them up. You know, I'm doing Nightmare Fuel on pop-up thing. And Monday night, Monster File. Saturday night, Black Revolutionary Block Party. And today, Thursday, Black Revolutionary Hotline. Oh, we just want to rehearse these, you know what I'm saying? Black.
Now let's get into it. I knew
they ended up getting married, and Little John was born, and subsequently 2 daughters afterwards. But I mean, he was always a little bit of a womanizer, but
gotta take it from the top, y'all. Inside the mind of a psychopath, the Washington snipers.
15 dead, 23 wounded, shot with planning and precision, without conscience or prejudice, shooting at random, irrespective of race or gender. Their victims were young, old, black, white, male, female. The Washington snipers were 41-year-old John Allen Muhammad and his 17-year-old accomplice Lee Boyd Malvo. If their paths had never crossed, would they have murdered so many, or were they born to kill?
Well, we're gonna find out. How about that?
Ordinary Americans feared for their lives, too frightened to put petrol in their cars or let their children play outdoors. For 23 horrific days, a series of random sniper killings terrorized Washington, D.C.
Memoirs of a Black Panther. Washington, D.C. Let's go back. Woo, man, oh man. They were like, you know, everybody was like, we don't know who's shooting or from what car. All we know is there are random shootings going on. And what do we do? So I tell you what, some of us out there on the hunt, you know what I mean? We are the hunting team. But on a thing like that. But still, Now here's where it gets interesting.
October 2002. Ordinary Americans feared for their lives.
And that's where we're gonna stop. 2002. Now, they said it was olive-skinned guys in a van, a white van, olive-skinned guys make it sound like Arabs, right? So, I think they switched the story up on everybody and wasn't nobody paying attention. So I was paying extra attention. Dig this. Well, not extra attention. Just remember irrelevant stuff to everyone else that turns out to be them little small bits and pieces that make it don't add up. Like, for one, everybody was saying, olive skin, you know what I mean? Olive skin, white van, right? So, they got an offer from whoever the snipers were. And the offer said a wire transfer and they would stop the killings. Okay? Now that's right before they found found the suspects. Right before they found the suspects, they had got a thing saying wire transfer us some money and it's all over. I think they did the wire transfer and it was done deal. Other little tidbit of information. These guys were supposedly, I don't know what they're going to say on that, but I'm telling you the details. They were supposedly displaced. They didn't have anywhere to live except in their car. And they were found in at a rest stop in Frederick, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., right up the highway. So it would be easy, for them to get up and down the highway, I guess. But if they had did it, so I guess they had to fit a couple of pieces in so that they would be able to fit it. Now, let's just say, now these guys, they homeless, they living in a car, displaced, living in a car, right? Now, if they displaced, living in a car, how they get an expensive rifle? And I know it's expensive because somebody was selling Memoirs of a Black Panther. Somebody was selling one. Matter of fact, I need my background music for this. Hold up. Yep. They would try that. Man. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, this is perfect. So, as I was saying, Memoirs of a Black Panther. They were looking for the suspects who were supposed to be olive skinned in a white van. Now, these dudes didn't even fit that description at all. They ain't olive skinned, they dark skinned, black, and they ain't not in a van. They're in a small car. Now, they said that they drilled a hole in the back of the car so he could snipe from the back of the hole in the car, right? How the hell you gonna be riding around and somebody aiming out the back of the trunk of the car? That's don't even make sense. How the hell are you gonna aim at anybody? Now, check this out. While they looking for the suspect, they supposedly found these guys, right? In the Frederick rest stop, right? Again, if they homeless, how they gonna get an expensive rifle? I seen the same rifle at a gun show, and they were selling it for like $3,000 or $4,000. The same rifle. I'm like, how much is the ammo? The ammo is expensive. These homeless guys are not going to hold on to an expensive gun with expensive ammo without it being in the pawn shop or in the hands of the local gangsters. So that part don't make no sense at all. You gonna panhandle for change to eat, but you got the expensive rifle, and you letting them $20 rounds off like it ain't nothing. You know what I mean? And then if you're shooting out of the back of a vehicle like that, it's gonna take more than one shot. I guarantee you. He had a little thing to look through, and the guy's moving, he driving at the same time, and you got traffic, and it's down low enough where it is trunk high. It's gonna be damn near impossible. You would have to parallel park to shoot somebody in that angle. So, again, I don't want to go over nobody here and go too fast. All I'm saying is that they said whoever did it said send them a wire transfer. Do that sound like a couple of homeless guys? They really know about wire transfers and $5,000 guns and spend $20 on each bullet? I'll wait. I'll give y'all to the beat. It's like, da 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 da. No, they're not going to hold on to a gun that costs that much money. As a matter of fact, if the guy had a leather jacket that he could sell to somebody for $10, a $100 jacket, he's going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But let them go ahead and tell whatever lie they're going to tell, because I just gave it to you real. Well, let me think. Any more details? Oh, yeah. Memoirs of a Black Panther. They had just found the guys, right? Supposedly, allegedly, at least they claiming they did. Now, if they just found the guys and the search is off and it's all over the newspaper, they found the guys, right? Why'd I get pulled over? And they saying they still looking for the sniper. Cause I had a bass guitar on my back on a it was like on a like a backpack. It was like a backpack. So I'm riding, you know, I got my two wheels, you know, and what I have, I think I had a scooter or something, but I'm riding this joint and I got the bass on my backpack and it's camouflage and I'm riding and it pulls me over. I want to look in there and see what that was in there. Now, if you found the guys you looking for, why are you going to look in my bag? Because you didn't find the guys you looking for. That's how. That's why. And I doubt that they would be sharp enough to do a wire transfer. You got to have a bank account to have a wire transfer, I think. See, I don't even make wire transfer. Somebody asked me for a wire transfer. I was like, wire transfer? You must have lost your mind. Gee, you want me to cash app you? Oh, by the way, my cash app is on the screen right there. And we're going to dive into, well, they going to dive into the mind of Lee, of the suspects, Malvo and Muhammad. But I'm going to tell you right now, they wasn't the suspects. The suspects were some Arab guys. Who else is olive skinned? Mexicans are brown. Arabs are olive skinned. That's what they was describing. And as a matter of fact, they ain't said they had no nappy hair, afro, nothing like that. Shoot, olive skin. You know what I mean? What'd that say? All you need to know. But let's get into it.
Too frightened to put petrol in their cars or let their children play outdoors. For 23 horrific days, a series of random sniper killings terrorized Washington, D.C. A walk down the high street would be a gamble with life and death.
Shooting people in
These two individuals were
shopping centers and gas
They didn't
pumps.
care about who they killed.
No one really expected that it would be a man and a boy working together as a sniper team.
Well, I think people began to be scared.
Pause it right there. Nobody suspected that because everybody was looking for the olive skinned dudes with the van. Mm-hmm. There was an FBI. And he had all the tax stuff on. And it said FBI on the back and everything. They combing the area. I'm saying, once they found out, hey, here's somebody riding around with something strapped to his back, and we don't know what it is. I'm like, what? Come on now. You mean tell me ain't the regular police ain't out here? They got the FBI out there? Okay. See, but he made Memoirs of a Black Panther. He made a mistake too. He walking around in town. All jacked and stuff, you know. And I'm looking at him like my drummer toss him around. Hey, my drummer and his big brother, they would play catch with this guy. He was huge too. He about their size for real, and that's what made me notice him. I was like, damn, he about my drummer size. And you don't find too many like that. Like a natural 260. 265, be eating them ribs, 275, 280. Don't tell me I want to get up to the 350. I'm like, you out of your damn mind. But anyway, that's how I notice them. And if they still on the hunt like that, them dudes did not get caught. But let's let them
when they realize
let them finish lying to us through their bare teeth. I just want to let you know, I don't believe them. But I do believe that they found a couple of good, candidates because they fit a profile that they liked. As a matter of fact, profiles that they like, I noticed that most of these serial killers don't ever get caught until they start messing around and with them. Never mind.
You had to come to grips with the fact that there could be somebody pointing a gun at you as you sat in your car.
They were just picking.
I put it like this: as long as they killing us,
you were out there where they could get to you. You were gone.
See, they start doing everybody. Now there's a problem.
Lee Malvo was born in Kingston, Jamaica on February the 18th, 1985, to Una James and Leslie Malvo. His childhood was not always a happy one. Dewey Cornell was Malvo's court-appointed psychologist. He spent 53 hours with Malvo, trying to understand his motivation.
In many ways, Lee's childhood was sort of the perfect
Damn, he looked
storm
like Jimmy Carter
for what was to come. He was treated
Sorry
very
about that,
abusively
y'all.
by his mother, who
Y'all hate being in the movie theater.
Obey her.
But with somebody like me behind y'all.
If he didn't do a good job washing the
Damn,
dishes,
man, look
if
at
he
that
didn't do his
forehead.
chores, then she left him. And she left him repeatedly to take jobs in other places and would come in, move him to a new place when that place wasn't working out. Or when
he had one of those mothers that got 5 jobs
she would disappear again.
at all times.
And each time this happened, he had a mixture of sort of distress and anger and resentment. He threatened to kill himself to try to convince her to stay with him. And throughout his childhood, teachers and neighbors,
damn, Jimmy Carter.
People observed how much
he got them damn Bugs Bunny teeth.
To want to glom on to a father.
My bad.
Malvo's partner in crime was 24 years his senior. Born in New Orleans, John Williams changed his name to John Muhammad when he converted to Islam in the mid-80s. Washington Times reporter John Ward recalls the details of Muhammad's mysterious childhood, which were mentioned briefly.
Damn, y'all see the eyes on that creature?
He was very affected by his mother dying when he was very young. And he was also picked on a lot as a kid by relatives. And I think he went through his entire life feeling like he was never recognized for his potential. He was never recognized for his talent.
Angry young man.
And he could have been something a lot greater than he turned out.
See, they didn't pick no pictures with him smiling. They always do that.
John married.
They gotta say, do you have any pictures of him looking angry?
Together they had 3 children. Those who knew him felt that he was a good father. Mechanic Robert Holmes met John in 1985 during their stints in the army at Fort Lewis.
Everybody thought it was the perfect family, She came up here, they ended up getting married, then little John was born, and subsequently 2 daughters afterwards.
There you go, everybody little.
I mean, he was always a little bit of a womanizer, but
like
at the same
Jolly
time,
Brown Giant.
I'd say he was a disciplinarian, same way as I am with my child. I mean, but it wasn't like abusive, strict.
He ain't gotta be abusive. He just say, I'm gonna hit you, boy.
Yell at his children. If there was something that was that he didn't feel they had done right,
Heck,
he would
damn,
talk to
James
them,
Evans with a bald head.
So
No,
it
I'm just
wasn't
kidding,
like,
y'all.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't
Don't tell
like
him
a
I
scream
said.
or anything. I never saw him do that with his children.
One person who also witnessed firsthand
I guess he
the
was
love
nice
he
around
expressed for
him.
his children was Jerry
Polite
O'Neill,
as hell.
his
Hand me
local
that
barber
wrench.
for over
God damn
11
it.
years.
John never raised his voice at the kids while they were in the shop. They were always mannerable. They sit, he would speak to them. They say, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Mildred was a strong woman, too. I saw
Yeah, man,
more of
I'm
her
standing behind you with a straight razor. How does it look? It look good. It look good.
influence on
Let me hear about
the
this
family
chair.
than John. Like I said, John was quiet. He'd come in.
Say, hey, John, he had to do
wanted his
John's
hair
hair
a
with the
certain
straight
way,
razor.
and that was it.
He don't use no
For
clippers
most
on
of their
John. He
married life,
uses
John
straight
was a
razor
combat
on
engineer
John.
in the National Guard. When he was away, he desperately missed his children.
He didn't like being in the military. It was something that he had committed himself to doing. And at the time, I think it provided a living for him and his family. And that's what he did.
He learned how to fire a weapon. He was highly trained in sniper tactics. His experience in the Gulf, we don't know exactly what that did to him. But again, there was talk of neurological damage from chemicals. And his wife, when he came back from the Gulf, said that she noticed a change in him, that he became angrier and darker.
On leaving the military, John began to feel bitter towards his country and the army. This would eventually turn into angry resentment towards his wife.
There was a point when he changed. You know, I mean, like I said, he looked the same. He was always pretty much the same with me, but there was just something.
I guess it
about him
was James
that
Evans.
just wasn't John, you know.
John Muhammad was becoming increasingly
Damn it, Brent,
unpredictable,
goddammit.
charming one minute, menacing the next. The John his friends knew was
He's different off
to the John
camera,
his
y'all.
wife
I
Mildred
promise he's
feared.
different off camera.
She said
And
she
he
was
got
scared, John. I
he
remember
get to
she told me
drinking
one
while he
time,
picked up car. Hand me that
ready to
goddamn
kill her.
wrench.
And I said, do you really think that John, she says, I know that if John gets the opportunity, he would kill me. But she was afraid of him. She was definitely afraid of him.
Oh, little John, he ain't gonna
Eventually,
hurt you.
things got to a breaking point, and the couple separated.
He had trouble with his marriage.
He ain't
took his
kill
kids
her.
away from
Come
his
on now.
ex-wife. He was very angry about her leaving him. even though
That
he
would
was
have
not
triggered
with her.
everything if it had been
and so
true. I don't think they
his
did it.
kids, I think, were increasingly the only thing in his
That's the
life.
kind of thing that triggered, though.
And they
Yeah,
gave him
man,
meaning.
pow!
Eventually,
Oh,
he took
shit,
his
damn.
with
I'm gonna
him
kill
from
everybody now.
and,
Hand me that
started
goddamn
making money
wrench.
by producing fake documents for people down there.
It
Everybody
was in the
except you,
Caribbean
James
in
Evans.
October 2000 that a lonely Lee Malvo would find the father figure he'd long been searching for. Lee Malvo's mother was desperate to move to the United States. She was willing to do anything. She would even
Anything?
sacrifice her only son.
Goddamn.
For $3,000, John could provide anyone with all the necessary visas and work permits.
When John Muhammad came along,
There go
John Muhammad
Billy
seemed
Carter.
to him like the perfect father. Because John Muhammad was a man whom he saw was taking care of his own 3 children.
Blee,
He was a single parent. He seemed to
Damn.
Lee very dedicated to his children, very dedicated to their welfare.
I did not
John
plan to
Muhammad
do this,
treated
y'all,
Lee
but
with
they
the kind
making
of
me do it.
respect, and honesty.
Look at the characters they got on
that,
this damn
that
thing.
no one else did.
They got Bugs
John's
Bunny,
powerful
James
influence
Evans,
eventually changed Malvo's life.
and the other dude with the dreadlock look like
Dangerous because he's the
that
kind of guy who
entertainer. I
knows
can't think of his
being
name, though.
dangerous.
It'll come to me.
And he would lull you into a sense of,
He looked like a chronic liar.
and that's when he would probably
Like, I'm gonna
strike.
put the
He
story
was not
together. I'm gonna make it
stupid.
fit, boss.
Yeah, he was pretty intelligent, just dangerous enough. He knew enough to be dangerous to somebody impressionable like Lee.
While John was in the
I'm gonna
Caribbean,
goddamn
Mildred was
rich.
back in the States,
If I was
frantically
scared
trying
of
to
these
track down her
motherfuckers.
missing children. The authorities located John. The children were forcibly removed, and a date for a custody hearing was set for the 4th of September.
He ain't kill her.
2001.
Come on, man.
You can hear for the first
He ain't
time
no
on
killer.
film the audio tapes from that hearing.
Is that what it sparked it off?
Please be seated. Sir, if you raise your right hand, ma'am. You both solemnly
Your right
swear that the
goddamn
testimony
hand.
You're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah,
what is
give
your
me
name?
that double talk, the whole truth, number two.
Sir, what is your date of birth?
December 31st, 1960.
And he thought that he was going to be able to go into court and present his side. But when he got there, they told him that they weren't there to hear.
He pleaded his own case,
The only
y'all,
purpose was to return
in
the
a
children
murder
to the
case.
custody of their mother.
They
John
knew he
wasn't
was
given
crazy.
the chance to persuade the judge he should be allowed to look after his children.
Can you please tell me what's going on?
There is a parenting plan that was entered by the court on October 6, 2000,
I'm
last
not
year.
aware of it. So the children are missing.
According to the court's order, they're going with mother.
Are you telling me the reason why I don't have my children and won't be able to keep my children because I don't have the proper paperwork yet?
The orders have said that mother has sole residential placement, care, and custody of the children.
He ain't kill her. Oh, shit.
He was like,
Give me that goddamn
he
wrench.
wasn't angry because, I never saw John get angry, like the kind of stuff where he's throwing stuff, but it was more almost like a depression type deal, control.
Hold up,
But he was
y'all.
upset about it.
I can't help myself. Wait a minute. Go back to Robert. Hold up. Now, Robert's his buddy,
Children and won't be able to keep my children because I don't have the proper paperwork yet.
The orders have said that mother has sole residential placement, care, and custody of the children.
And when he came back, he was like,
Now, what I want to say about H&H Auto Repair man, Robert, you better not call me no goddamn Bob or Rob. Now, how many goddamn wrench?
he wasn't angry because, I never saw John get angry, like the kind of stuff where he's throwing stuff, but it was more almost like a depression.
Y'all better hit that goddamn $sign black over them line over Bob head.
You do
And
have
Big
an
Bob.
opportunity to express your side of the
Like Bob Sapp.
story for the court to hear it. All right?
And until it's done, I'm not able to see my children.
Your visitation is suspended.
The outcome of the court hearing left John reeling. He couldn't accept that he wouldn't be allowed to see his children again. Unable to understand the judge's decision, he sought further legal advice. He turned to family lawyer John Mills, who
I
agreed
thought
to
he had
take
Big
on
Bob.
his case.
Shit.
And he was a very normal, concerned
What
father
seemed to be
who
the
was
problem, boy?
disturbed by what had gone
How
on
many
in court.
goddamn
He
wrench?
didn't understand what had gone on in court. But once I explained that to him, he was perfectly willing to, as I say, work within the system, expecting that we could get it all straightened out again and organized again.
Let's
The
straighten
effects
it
of this
out.
decision would not only change John's life, but also 23 other lives.
So he found himself at his lowest point in his life because his children were very dear to him, and he was a loving father. He was a doting father.
And it's sad.
What the hell is a doting father?
Dozens of people would die and their lives would be
You better not be
destroyed.
doting around here.
Be destroyed.
And that's probably what pushed him over the edge.
How many
Losing
goddamn
custody of his
wrench?
children completely devastated John. It made him angry and depressed. In Lee Malvo, John saw someone that lacked a father figure.
They still
Someone
didn't
he
find
could
the
teach
killers,
and
y'all.
mold.
The
Someone
killers
who
got
could
them damn,
ultimately turn into a killing machine.
what do you call it?
John
I ain't never
vowed
used
revenge
one.
on his ex-wife. But just how far?
A money
was he
transfer. They got the
willing to
money
go?
transfer and left.
One half of the deadly Washington sniper duo, John Mohammed, lost custody of his children in September 2001. He vowed revenge on his ex-wife.
They ain't
For the
kill
next
her.
4 months, he would search endlessly for her and his children.
Big
To
Bob.
no avail.
And then he came and told me one day, he says, Holmes, he said, I know where Mildred's at. And I was like, where's she at? He said, she's somewhere in the D.C. area.
No, that ain't what he said. That ain't what Big Bob said. He said, first of all, who the fuck you call Holmes? I look like a goddamn home to you. He said, yeah, Big Bob, you look like a mobile
Formed a
home.
gruesome and deadly plan. A plan that would need an accomplice. John Mohammed
And I
met
said
Lee
fudge,
Malvo in the
not
Caribbean.
the other word.
Lee looked up to the older man and considered him a role model.
It was very apparent that he loved and admired John Muhammad.
Damn,
He adored
Billy
him, was
Carter.
willing to die for him, and regarded Muhammad as his leader, as his father, and as the person who was going to, he thought, lead a political revolution in the United States.
John, acting like a father figure, persuaded Lee to enroll in the local Bellingham High School. His favorite subject was drawing, and he proved to be an excellent artist. His fellow classmate, Chrissy Greenawald, remembers Lee well.
Wait a minute, hold
He
on.
was very friendly.
You can tell a lot by a person's art.
And regarded Muhammad as his leader.
First of all, it looked like you drew a penis over Muhammad's face. That's first thing. First thing first. Y'all see it. I know you see it. You gotta address the elephant in the goddamn room. But let's look at his artwork, because I see a lot in this artwork.
Lead a political revolution in the
It's
United
like,
States.
damn.
John,
Eyes
acting
all
like a
close
father
together.
figure, persuaded Lee to enroll in the local Bellingham
This is the
High School.
artwork I want to see right here.
His favorite subject was drawing.
Now look at this.
And he proved to be an excellent.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. Look what he drawing, y'all. A slave hanging up by chains, all back and everything, all whipped and bloody, and the women crying, and they pointing at him, and the babies are looking at him, and everybody's pointing at him. See, that's the Willie Lynch letters, what he was spelling out right there, you know. And then look over on the other side. You got it looked like another slave, huge, looked like Big Bob, got a rifle and the horse, and looked like the whip cracker is coming, but Big Bob is like, give me the goddamn wrench.
Artist. His fellow classmate, Chrissy Greenawald, remembers Lee well.
He was very friendly and not necessarily an extrovert. He didn't really try to make friends. He wasn't, about to give me many details on his life.
During this period, the pair stayed with a friend, Earl Dancy. He saw a side of John that others didn't.
Very manipulative. He gains your confidence, he gains your trust. Once he compliments your trust, he'll use it to his advantage.
He also witnessed a change in
What
Lee
he
Malvo's
really
character.
was saying is, once I gave him a key, he turned on the air conditioning, run up all the bills. He ain't got no money. He get eating up all the food in the refrigerator. He had to go.
Always angry. He's always angry, mad. I would expect that any teenager would have been like that, but he just had a lot of anger in him for no reason at all.
He's the guy in the picture.
Gradually became more than just schoolwork.
He's the
Every day
dude that
after
he drew the
school, John
penis
would
over his
teach Lee
face.
how to shoot at the local gun range. John became obsessed with Lee's marksmanship.
At a period of time, they would bring targets to me. And the targets were getting better and better. And actually one where the target was actually dead shot, center mass.
I think on one occasion he said Lee was a better shot than him.
Muhammad's teachings also included making sure Lee knew everything about guns. This was evident in one classroom discussion.
One time
Now, here's where we get.
We just finished the movie.
That's where we got to pause this mug right here. Because now we're going to get into our field of expertise, which is, homeless dude walking in there and buying none of them. None of them. As a matter of fact, as soon as he walk in the door, excuse me, sir, can I help you? You don't know.
The question, what kind of weapons do they have? And, he raised his hand.
He had a
and he knew
$5,000
exactly
gun.
what kind of weapons they had. And he could list them off. That was weird. The kid who never talks.
That's why they chose them as suspects.
Knows all about
or
weapons.
a scapegoat.
Lee was encouraged
Because
to
they
watch
knew about
films
guns.
such as The Matrix and play sniper video games repeatedly. Experts would later conclude that this was to ensure that the young, impressionable Lee was desensitized to the events that would later unfold.
Well, he liked games that had a lot of high adrenaline, games that, games that really amp you up,
They had a demanding daily routine of exercise and a restricted diet.
They were doing some kind of special diet because they were taking something to cleanse their body, and they were both eating honey and crackers.
They had this belief that you should only eat once a day.
They were eating crackers. Hold up. Wait a minute, hold up. Eating honey and crackers. Man, they had an Islamic diet is what they had. And you should eat once a day.
games that...
But that's not gonna work for Big Bob. Big Bob, I've got to eat
They
at
had
least
a
5 times a
demanding
day.
daily
Goddamn
routine
it.
of exercise and a restricted diet.
Big Bob, he had.
They were doing
He'd be like, hand me that rich and that sandwich.
something to like cleanse their body, and they were both eating honey and crackers.
They had this belief that you should only eat once a day, that somehow it was more efficient for your digestive system.
On February the 16th,
they're gonna make that sound crazy
2 days
too, huh?
before Malvo's 17th birthday, John Mohammed gave him his first big test. John was angry with a friend of his ex-wife, Isla Nichols, so he sent his young apprentice to kill her. Lee was not to know that Nichols' 21-year-old niece, Kenya Cook, would be home. On opening the front door, Cook was shot in the face with a single bullet. Lee Malvo had made his first kill. From February to October 2002, they ricocheted around the United States.
That's probably the only kill they did.
Or desires demanded.
See, there you go. Bam. That's what they were looking for.
Home of the White House, and soon to become home to one of the
Ain't what
worst
they was
shooting
found
sprees
in,
in
though.
American history. On the morning of October the 3rd, 2002, the Washington rush hour was reaching its height. The major highways on the 64-mile beltway that rings the capital were full of people going to work. Sergeant Roger Thompson was the lead investigator on the case. He knows each crime scene intimately.
Montgomery County. I told you that's where they was swarming, Montgomery County.
Strange facets about this case is that no one, with all the eyes,
that's where they were found in Montgomery County too.
All the people driving around, nobody actually saw them shoot anyone.
Mohammed and Malvo would drive the streets until they found a possible target. Once they were in position, Mohammed would keep watch from the driver's seat, whilst Malvo would climb from the front, lift up the back seat cushion, and slide into the Caprice's boot. Their first
You ain't gonna make
was
no shot out of that.
landscaper James Buchanan. Also
I think that
known
was
as
a
Sonny.
setup right there.
His sister Vicky
how did they
describes
cut?
him as a general.
See, they went over that real quick because they don't want y'all to see it. Let's look at it again. How did they cut that onto the trunk? I mean, where did they get all this trunk cutting equipment from? Where you can cut the trunk of a car? Come on, man.
All the people
That sounds like
around, nobody actually
somebody
saw them
cut it for them, though.
Mohammed and Malvo would
Maybe
drive
with
the
a-
streets until they found a possible target. Once they were in position, Mohammed would keep watch from the driver's seat, whilst Malvo would climb from the front, lift up the back seat cushion, and slide into the Caprice's boot.
See, my memory's pretty good. Right there. That's where they messed up at. You ain't gonna fire off no shot. Now, for one, it looked like they done cracked the trunk so you can see out a little bit more. Close the trunk and have that one little opening right there. Ain't nobody gonna shoot and hit nothing out of there. Care how good a shot you are.
Their first target was 39-year-old landscaper James Buchanan, also known as Sonny. His sister Vicky describes him as a generous man.
Sonny was my youngest brother. He was my best friend, and we were confidants, and he just had a love for life and for people.
James Buchanan was mowing this lawn right here, this grass, and he was walking in that direction.
Malvo watched and waited, focusing through the gun's scope, his breathing controlled. Once he had the command from Mohammed, he pulled the trigger.
The lawnmower kept going, and then he ran down this sidewalk and into this parking lot here for the car dealership and collapsed in front of 2 employees.
The bullet hit Sonny between his left shoulder blade and his spine. He was rushed to hospital, but died a few hours later.
I knew, as soon as I went to the door, she had his license. And I knew that it was like a nightmare, that you don't want to wake up from.
But Buchanan wouldn't be the only person to die at the hands of the snipers that day. It was the start of 3 weeks of unimaginable terror.
Now here's the mobile station here on the left, and that center island with the 2 pumps there, his car was facing inward, facing towards the store. He had a car that the gas pump was under the license plate in the back. So he was pumping his gas there, and the shot came from across the street.
Across the
From the
street,
gap
from
in
a little
between
hole?
these two bushes
Hell no.
and across 6 lanes of busy traffic, the sniper had struck again.
How about that? Between the gap in the bushes, nah, it wouldn't make no sense. Let's look at it again.
So he was pumping his gas
So
there,
he had to shoot
and the shot
across the street. Yeah, across the street, between them bushes. That didn't happen from inside the trunk of a car through a little hole. In my
From the
opinion.
gap in between these two bushes and across 6 lanes of busy traffic,
6 lanes?
the sniper had struck again.
What is wrong? A man has been killed in front of me. I don't know.
A doctor on the scene tried to revive Prem Kumar Wadekar, but it was no use. The powerful .223 bullet ripped through his heart and lung, and Prem Kumar died at the scene. Just 25 minutes later, Sarah Ramos, a housekeeper and nanny, was quietly sitting on a bench reading a book while she waited for her boss to pick her up.
The suspect's vehicle was parked here at this particular parking space, with the trunk facing the intended victim and the front of the car facing traffic. While inside the trunk, they only popped the trunk up about this much. And
Oh, see, now he's bull's crap.
shot Sarah Ramos, who was sitting.
How'd that get cut, y'all?
They close the trunk, and they back up and drive away, and nobody sees anything.
Yeah, the authorities,
The distance
somebody
from
cut
the
that
shooter's
joint
vehicle
with the
and
jaws
Sarah
of life. Cut that
It's about
joint.
the same as the other ones.
That's how you
we had
would,
that
what you would
morning
need to
and
cut it.
subsequent, shootings that occurred in the Washington,
They
D.C.
damn sure
area.
didn't file it down with no
It
hacksaw.
was between 80 and 90
Big Bob
yards.
didn't have nothing to do
Sometimes
with
a
it.
little closer,
Him and that
sometimes a little
goddamn
further
wrench.
away. The bullet went right through her and went right through the plate glass window.
I mean, Big Bob could have made that cut for him because he's a
that matched up to the
mechanic.
An hour later, 25-year-old Laurie Lewis Rivera was
But
shot
even a
as she
mechanic
vacuumed
gonna have
her
the
car
right
at a petrol
tools
station.
to cut a
12
hole
hours
like
after
that. Plus, Big Bob be
72-year-old
like, I'm not
Pascal
fooling with you,
Shano
boy.
was killed whilst crossing the street. 5 people killed, numerous lives altered forever. But it was only just the beginning for 2 men who were on a mission to cause as
Bob
much
be on the
chaos and
damn
devastation as
documentary talking about, yeah, I
It
cut the
left
hole
the
for
police
him.
dumbfounded and with no answers to give the shattered community.
We just didn't know what to do. We did not prepare for what happened that morning.
Children were locked in their classrooms and told not to go near the windows. There were no outside activities, no field trips, no sporting events. Life had ground to a halt.
Your children are not safe anywhere at any time.
Oh, it was very frightening. I remember waking up one morning not wanting to send my children to school. And my husband saying we have to be normal because the more fearful we are, we're going to make them more fearful.
The random shootings made people hesitant to perform even the most mundane daily tasks, like buying petrol.
As soon as they knew that somebody was shot at one gas station, then when it happened at
They
another
get
gas
$2 worth of gas.
people
Get
were
the hell up
doing
out of
all
here.
sorts of things to keep from being shot. They would go back in their car while the gas pump was going on, or they would try to hide and get down like this to keep from getting shot, and they would look around to make sure nobody was going to shoot at them.
Even catching public transport was terrifying. Sonia Wills's son, Conrad Johnston, was a local bus driver who used to escort one elderly passenger onto his bus.
Whenever he got to that spot, he would get off the bus and go get her from behind a tree and escort her to the bus, telling her, "Don't worry, you're safe with me.
Not
They
today,
have to
Ms.
get to
Robinson."
me before they can get to you."
Dr. Evan Nelson is a clinical psychologist who has evaluated over 400
What?
murder cases. He explains
Get
what
me
may
before
have
they
been
get to
going through
you.
the killer's mind.
He's not a relative. That's a
extraordinary
paying
case.
customer, damn it.
That really differentiates this case from other types
How
of
the
murder
hell
cases.
you
where
gonna
planning is not the element.
give your
the
life
reality is that most
Mrs.
murders
Robinson
have about
to pay a
30
$2
seconds of
fare?
planning, if that at all.
Ain't gonna kick off the bus because she ain't got all her money.
Was to make use of Mohammed's army training and experience as a mechanic to completely alter their 1989 dark blue Chevy
He ain't do that
to suit their requirements.
What kind of tools
Crime
would you
scene
need to
expert
do that?
Ralph Dano gives us an exclusive look at the adjustments they made.
The firewall is cut out, which would allow someone to either secrete the weapon or a person to transport themselves from the rear passenger compartment into the trunk. Once backed into position, give a signal or we're ready. The person sitting in the seat can turn
He pulled that seat out so he could stretch out. So he could stretch out when he's sleeping. That's why that was might have been back. But ain't nobody using that little bitty hole.
Here and just leave his hand here without any common observation. So nobody knows what's going on. You've got the tinted windows. The person then transports themselves through the back and the gun is there. They're in and they find themselves.
He's stuttering, trying to figure out how to make this make sense.
Not all the shootings were done from the boot. As the pair got more confident, some shots were fired from outside the vehicle.
How they know? They ain't catch
Ballistics
him.
expert
How would
Jeff
they
Miller
know?
explains one of these rare times.
Malvo said that he was lying here in this parking lot here at the community center near the stairway. And while Mohammed was providing a lookout for him, he was able to look across this parking lot, across the highway, and underneath the parking garage here, the Home Depot store. And Mr. and Mrs. Franklin were loading.
Damn, I used to go to there.
The back of their
I've
car,
been that spot.
And the two of them were standing just underneath the home in the Home Depot store, about halfway through the parking lot. Bullet entered the left side of her head, and as it exited
He didn't
her head,
confess to no killings.
And caused a
So
very
how you gonna
traumatic
say
injury
that
to
he said he was outside?
Linda
Unless that was a coerced confession.
Throughout the ordeal, Mohammed and Malvo left various notes for the police.
They said that
demanded
they
$10
pleaded
million
innocent.
to stop their reign of
That's what I was talking about, y'all. Tell me I ain't got a memory and a half.
in the Home Depot store, about halfway through the parking lot. Bullet entered the left side of her head, and as it exited her head, it started to fragment inside.
Well, why they say he was outside of the car?
Injury to her head.
What makes me
Linda
say that?
Franklin was killed instantly. Throughout the ordeal, Mohammed and Malvo left various notes for the police. They demanded $10 million to stop their reign of terror.
In a wire transfer.
They were also keeping a close eye
Not
on
left in
news
a paper
reports.
bag outside
This
of
was
J.C.
evident
Penney.
in this restaurant's CCTV footage.
Standing there at the front reception area, and a news report came on about the sniper story. He walked over to the television that was hanging over the bar and actually reached up and turned up the sound so he could listen to the story.
Well, the people who are interested in notoriety are usually flirting with the media. They're sending letters. For example, here in the United States, there's just been an apprehension of the BTK, blind, torture, and kill serial murderer. This is an individual who wrote letters to the media taunting the police, taunting the community, as compared to leaving a covert and specific letter just for the police, as Malvo and Mohammed did. I don't see any signs that these two men were taking an especial pleasure in killing so much as a pleasure in shooting precisely, implementing a plan so perfectly that they weren't caught.
But how did the police finally track down the suspects? They investigated every shooting in the Washington, D.C. area. A short time before the snipers began their rampage, a liquor store in the D.C. area had been held up. 2 employees were shot. The gunman was proved to be Lee Malvo. His fingerprints were found at the scene. Malvo had a criminal record from being arrested as an illegal immigrant. Lee Malvo lived with John Mohammed here at the Lighthouse Mission in Bellingham. This is how the police were able to make the connection between the 2 killers. Meanwhile, Mohammed's old army friend, Robert Holmes, was following the sniper shootings with extra interest.
Somebody was saying something about it's got to be 2 guys working as a team. One is the spotter and one is the shooter. So then I knew that Lee was with him.
It was one of the hardest decisions of his life as he picked up the phone and called the FBI.
they called me in and they started asking me questions, you know, and they were asking, why did I think it was John? Why would he be on the East Coast? And I told them, I said, well, I know his wife is somewhere in the DC area, you know, and then it took off from there.
The police may have been closing in on the suspects, but they had not stopped the killing. On the morning of October the 22nd, 2002, the kindly bus driver who helped so many of his frightened passengers through these 3 weeks of terror was standing on the front steps of his bus. His name was Conrad Johnson. He was 35 years old and had a wife and 2 young children.
Conrad was a very gentle person. I called him the gentle giant because he was a big guy, but he was very kind, soft-spoken, just a gentle person, a loving family man.
Almost as big as Bob.
Conrad Johnson was here waiting to start his bus run. He would always pull over here and would clean out the bus. You can imagine it was dark in the morning. The lights are on the inside of the bus. The entire wood line is all dark.
At 5:55 a.m., a gunshot rang out from the woods opposite. Conrad staggered back and fell into the aisle.
Oh, my brother been shot at Aspen Hill. Aspen Hill and what? Right here by the post office. Please, he's been shot about 2 minutes. I've been laying here, sir. Please, hurry up. I'm scared. Please send some help. I'm on the bus.
The bullet tore through his liver, destroying it. He was rushed to hospital for emergency surgery.
It was a sad morning when I got the call that Conrad had been shot. And I just knew that it was a sniper. About 40 minutes later, the doctors came out and told us he did not make it. And that's one day I never want to relive.
I don't think they would have killed no black dude if it was them.
I went upstairs to the morgue.
Unless, of course, he got him because he reminded him of Bob.
I saw him laying there.
Damn, they got them. But not really. These are Arab dudes that did that killing.
It was very, very hard.
Said it was olive skin and demanded $2 million.
This would be the last killing.
Wire transfer to stop the killing.
Resulting in 23
as soon as they gave them the money, they stopped the killing.
For the police, the pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together.
And then they got their suspects. Because they had to get a suspect because
the Mohammed and Malvo's arrest was issued at 7:54 p.m. At 12:05 a.m., a press conference was held, announcing the license plate they were looking for, NDA.
Found them at a rest stop in Frederick.
And so a truck driver,
Frederick,
Myersville, Maryland, about 50 miles from here.
So I think I remember that.
Wrote down the tag number and saw the car. And within a matter of 15 or 20 minutes of it hitting the news, we had a spot of the car, and then we went into action.
At 3:30 a.m. on October the 24th, 2002, Mohammed and Malvo were arrested as they slept in their car at a rest area on the I-70 highway.
Tell me my memory ain't like an iron trap.
And you're going through the emotions, and you're wondering what's going to happen.
It is all
next.
Memory.
And, you know,
I ain't got to research it. I lived
the
it.
biggest relief for all of us was when they were caught.
For the victims' families, the fact that the men responsible were in police custody helped their grieving process.
Now
the almost perfect crime had been stopped.
You mean almost the perfect setup? Check this out, y'all. They say, okay, wire transfers $2 million and the shootings will stop. Now, if you send them the $2 million, you better come up with a damn suspect or patsy of some sort for these shootings to stop.
Safe to walk the streets again. But the question remained, what turns 2 men into cold-blooded killers? The Washington snipers spent months terrifying an entire community. Finally, after shooting 23 people and killing 15, John Allen Mohammed and Lee Boyd
a lot of Arabs in that area too
was brought to an end. They were in police custody.
Well, I mean, Middle East. Let's not say Arab.
I was just watching the news one day.
That's the description they gave.
They said that they had caught them. And I don't think I saw his face. They just said his name. And it kind of just, I was like, well, how do I know that name? Lee Malvo, you know, it's not your most common name in the world. And I just kept thinking, where do I know that from? And it all kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be happening. This, you know, how weird is that? Our little tiny corner of the world, this guy was in my class, and now he's killed 13 people.
Mohammed and Malvo were arrested and their car was thoroughly searched. The police uncovered vital circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial.
Some of the items of evidence that were collected within the vehicle at the time of the arrest were, for instance, the Sony Vaio computer that was located in the front seat of the vehicle. And there were several items that they had that worked with the computer. They had a solar charger. I don't know how well it worked, but they had one. They also, with the Sony Vaio computer, they were keeping logs, and they kind of kept a little bit with track of the areas that they felt were important. Areas that they had scouted out as being strong possible
In other words,
areas where they
nothing.
could wreak the most havoc.
They also found maps marking not only
the profile
places where
that they
people
were
had
looking
already been
for.
shot, but also where they planned future killings.
There were lots of bags of clothing, personal items that they had.
They lived
had
in the
lots of
car.
vitamins, and they were trying to sustain themselves on water. The weapon that was used, the Bushmaster 223, with the halocite on it, was located within the back seat of the vehicle.
Expensive rifle, y'all.
The murder weapon was a high-powered Bushmaster's rifle.
That
civilian
scope
version
costs
of the
a lot of
military
money.
Rifle Mohammed knew so well.
Hell,
For the police,
if he
this
was
an
on, if he
essential
needs some
find.
money, he could have sold the scope.
Ballistics would later link it to at least 11 of the shootings. If they hadn't found it, Mohammed and Malvo could have got away with murder. Further proof was
That's probably a gift from the real shooter.
Malvo's DNA that we found.
$2 million, they
Malvo's
leave, and
DNA
here's the
we found
weapon.
in the notes. We did get fingerprints of Muhammad.
Put it on whoever you want.
And other evidence.
The psychological reasons behind this degree of preparation is explained by clinical psychologist Evan Nelson.
I wish I had some weapons experts on the line right
They were
now.
very careful to set themselves
You can
up
say, how much
to do
is that
shootings in
scope?
ways that they could make a quick and rapid exit.
Because I ain't interested in buying no expensive stuff like that. You know, I'm like Jed Clampett, throw an apple up in the air, and I shoot the seeds out that joint. I mean,
They even came back to inspect
but
the
it's about
scene
$200
while the police
for
were
that scope.
investigating it. This shows an amazing degree
That rifle's
of calculation
$5,000.
and awareness of the
$4,000
wrongfulness of
if
what they
you
were doing
get it
in order
used.
to avoid detection, and even a willing to flirt with the possibility of being caught because of that sense of supremacy that they could get away with this.
John Mohammed was examined by court-appointed psychiatrists, but the findings were never admitted as evidence in court, so the motivation for these heinous crimes will never truly be known. By attempting to extort $10 million from the American government, one theory is that money was their motive.
These two individuals were cold-blooded murderers. They didn't care about who they killed. They killed indiscriminately. They wanted the money. They wanted the fear.
There was speculation that Mohammed wanted to kill his wife in order to get
Now,
his children back.
Let's go back to the picture that Lee drew of the Willie Lynch thing, you know? And that would show right there that they wouldn't have killed no black folks. Now, even on this picture right there, he had a target on the police. So
Well, I think it was Mildred was the target in the mission, because if
that's a
if it was
possibility.
just
That
to
was
terrorize
personal.
people or to kill people, even that could have been done anywhere. If you kill 10 people and she's one of the 10, then it's less likely. I mean, there's still a chance that you're going to get caught, but it's less likely.
There's no hard evidence to prove this theory. Yet ultimately, was losing custody of his children the trigger for this series of events?
It wasn't like he was a bad character and that all his life he had been doing dirty things, bad deeds. It's just that, you know, like I said, you reach your breaking point, you don't know how you're going to react. And you go over the edge. He went over the edge, and that was the end result.
Despite this insight into Mohammed's motivation, it's still not clear why he deliberately set out to convince a 17-year-old boy to take part in his mission.
I've evaluated literally close to 200 capital murder defendants and about 400 murder defendants overall. Mr. Malvo is in a class unto his own, because of his intellect, because of his verbal skills,
Hold on.
because of the fact that he
There you
did
go.
this killing.
There you go. That's proof right there. In my mind, he didn't shoot no black folks. And that also proves that they weren't the shooters. They got a $200 scope on a $5,000 weapon and didn't pawn it and slept in a car. Bull.
Hand him in such a purposeful way. And that's really different than the majority of murders that we see that are impulsive, that grow out of being drunk and high and perhaps sexually aroused or being greedy. And somebody wants something in that moment, they commit a murder and then they regret it.
Nobody becomes a serial killer or a criminal for just one reason. I know there's a lot of debate about nature versus nurture. But even if you ask the question, nature versus nurture, you're really asking the wrong question. It's always nature.
The question you should be asking is, does he remind y'all of Billy Carter or Bugs Bunny?
And nurture.
At that age, and I remember, or even, I mean, I'm not even that much
These
older
guys
than
were
this
set up.
but you just want to please the adults around you.
They got a patsy.
You want to do well in
$10
all the things
million
you do so that adults
paid
because
off
you're trying
to the
be
real
grown up
killers
yourself, and you want
on
to be
a
accepted by them. And
wire transfer.
I can completely see why. If they're and he was his caretaker. He had nobody else to take care of him.
Lee told his psychologists that if they wanted to understand him, they should watch the film The Matrix. Keanu Reeves' character is chosen by an older, charismatic mentor to lead a revolution against an evil regime that had enslaved humanity.
I think it was clearly a sense of him against the system. And that's probably one reason why he identified with the character Neo within The Matrix. And I think that for a young, idealistic 17-year-old, that was a frame of reference he could really buy into.
There's pretty strong evidence that repeated exposure to entertainment violence will desensitize young people and make them more likely to think that violence is an acceptable way to solve problems.
Hey, y'all better go to bed.
Muhammad's radical teachings were constantly drummed into Malvo's head. They played a vital role in his conditioning.
I'll be watching this violence.
Again and again, he would make political statements about the need to overthrow society. It really started to remind me very quickly of someone who was part of a political underground or maybe part of a cult movement who had been brainwashed or indoctrinated.
But would Malvo have killed if he had never met Muhammad?
Lee Malvo basically killed because John Muhammad wanted him to kill.
But those closest to the investigation disagree.
No brainwashing at all. We have witnesses that actually put them apart. We know where Muhammad is by himself. Malvo is by himself. He had every opportunity to leave.
In my opinion, it wasn't brainwashing. This was a case of a young man who was eager to learn things and an older man who was eager to teach. So I think that young Mr. Malvo found somebody who he could idolize and adore and choose to follow as compared to being brainwashed.
I'm not going to say he was brainwashed. I don't think he was. And I won't say he was a born killer. And I'm not going to say he was a product of the environment, because I am from Jamaica. All my kids were born in Jamaica. Well, my 3 older kids were born in Jamaica, and they're not like that.
Even though Lee Malvo was just 17 years old at the time of the shootings, he faced the death penalty.
And it was really the defense team's job to try to explain why Lee Malvo did what he did. And I think by presenting to the jury the evidence from Lee's childhood, from his
upbringing, don't make no sense.
Evidence of the influence that John Muhammad had on him, controlling him and indoctrinating him, I think the jury ultimately decided that Lee Malvo did not deserve the death penalty, although he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison.
Dewey Cornell is still in contact with Malvo. He's noticed dramatic changes in him since being away from Muhammad.
He really turned from being a kind of a soldier, a scripted, indoctrinated soldier, into being more of a 17-year-old boy. He became more juvenile, more adolescent. His facial expressions changed, his demeanor changed, and we had more of a boy on our hands.
The childhood that Malvo had lost was found, but he's now in jail and will never be released. Since his arrest, John Mohammed has remained silent, except for a rare few days at his trial when he chose to defend himself.
See?
He's very upset.
He defended himself.
He's defending
And you know,
himself.
he can't do
He's
that
gonna
on
be
no
able
murder
to,
trial.
Ask us
That's how they
questions,
got him, the
witness
scapegoat.
stand.
They knew he was
The hardest
crazy
part
enough to
about
do that. He did it
see him
before.
Get up and cross-examine at least one of his witnesses. He cross-examined Paul Arufa, who he had shot in the stomach. And I think that was very difficult for LaRufa to be talking to the guy 5 feet away who had shot him and really, traumatized his life. He said, I was there. I know what happened, and I didn't do it. So it didn't make any sense, because how would you be there but yet not be responsible?
It was hard at first. Just sitting there, being in the same room with these two people that I know took my son's life. It was very hard for me. I had to sit there for 2 weeks or more with Mohammed looking at him, but he never looked at you. He would never look at you.
The police were never able to prove that Mohammed had pulled the trigger in any of the 23 shootings.
Because he didn't
He was prosecuted with what was called the Triggerman Statute. That states that if the suspect was a direct helper or causing agent for the shootings, he should be held responsible for them. The rifle had given him power over life and death, and over the needy teenager he found in the Caribbean. He's currently on death row in Virginia.
I'll be very happy when this world is rid of them.
If you believe
Shortly
whatever
after
you
the
told.
trial, the families of the deceased created a memorial to the sniper's victims.
They've made it such a beautiful place that the horrificness of the event and all those feelings that you have you could walk through there now and find some peace.
I think the real justice that's been delivered has been for those families.
I try to celebrate who he was and what he did. Sometimes you talk about on your gravestone, you were born a date and there's this dash and you die a date. It's how you live that dash.
3 years on, and Sonia Will's pain continues. She cannot even contemplate forgiving her son's killers.
I have tried, and I must tell you, I consider myself a Christian person, and I have prayed about it. But, they say forgive and forget. How can I forget? They took something that was very, very precious from me. Maybe in time I will.
Nightmare Fuel.